I'm Cassandra McLaughlin, Alfaparf Milano Professional Global Ambassador. I'm really excited to share with you one of my go-to toning placements that falls under my strategic foiling or strategic color placement category. Strategic foiling and color placement is a really efficient and super easy way to work behind the chair. One of the reasons why I love it is it works with the natural fall of the head and helps you really strategize your color placement as you go, so each color is customized to your guests. So today we are taking our lovely model here from a golden blonde, previously highlighted look, to more of a strawberry coppered inspired color using the range of Alfaparf Milano Professional color products. So we're using the BB Lift Bleach Easy Lift 7 with 10 volume. We're going to use the Color Wear Cream, which is a demi-permanent, beautifully conditioning tone-on-tone color in 8.03 and 7.34, and then we're finishing with the Color Wear Gloss Toner in 2 different steps. So we're going to utilize it in our process and then as also a top coat. So we're going to use the 9.3 and the 8.34 as we work through the head, and then we're also going to finish with the 10.04. All of this to give a beautiful strawberry coppery finish. So I went ahead and did the first section. As you can see, I sectioned with the natural round of the head in 3 sections. The reason why I'm doing that is because I want to strategize how much depth I want throughout the hair. So we have our lightest section, we have the interior section, which is going to add some depth and pop, and then we have the top section where I want a little bit more even distribution between light and dark again. So think more 50-50. So I'm going to go ahead and move to the second section. In the first section, because it was a blonde money piece, I actually kept it at our dark and medium formula. In the second section, I'm going to go in now. Let me get my tray over here. And I'm going to take the 8.03 and the 7.34, and I'm going to tap the root. And how far you drag it down depends on the line of demarcation, how far your highlights are grown out, and obviously the end result you're looking for. So I'm going to do just a light tap at the root. And as you can see, working with the round of the head actually involves a really fast and an easy precision application just by taking large diagonal panels. And because I use the same root formula, I can work onto my previous section without worrying about foiling. I'm just over directing it forward, getting a nice little tap at the root. And again, this is the Color Wear Cream. What I love about the demi-permanent selections through Alfaparf Milano Professional is how gentle they are, number one. Integrity of the hair is absolutely paramount, and you can see that in the technology. It's got a patented arginine technology, which this is the first time I had personally heard about this as a colorist, as a color specialist. It is actually a different type of alkalizing agent that's found naturally occurring, and so it really offers a really gentle application, but it gives a really long-lasting result with demi-permanent color. So for me, especially focusing primarily on large color changes and corrective color, knowing that the color is gentle but also is going to last a long time has been a huge game changer for me. So as you can see, as I drop a little bit towards the back, I actually get my shadow root a little bit lower. So I'm going to go ahead now and just give that an easy comb through. And because we're working tone on tone, very similar tones in the hair, I'm not super worried about the blend or the overlap. So this is where the fun comes in, and this is where the artistry comes in. So in some color palettes, you'll need light, medium, and dark. In some, you'll need just the medium and the dark, and you can use the light that's in the hair. So I'm going to take this as a section, and this as a section, and I'm going to use just my colorist eye to visualize what this section needs in order to kind of contribute to the overall impact. I'm going to split that in half. I'm going to pick up. This is going to be my light, this is going to be my medium. The reason why I want this section to be my medium is because where it sits on the top of the head, I know I need a little extra depth there to contrast. So I'm going to go ahead and just separate them. And I'm just going to hand paint with this. It's going to be a really easy organic application. And you could utilize only demis for this. You could go in and you can hand paint highlights. This is a great way to low light hair as well. If you were toning in your final toning stage, you could use the lighter formula as your all over glaze and then use the medium where you'd want a little bit of low light. And then the next section I left out, I'm just gonna hand paint that with my medium. And one of the tricks I like to do with a low light formula is I actually don't take it all the way through the ends. It gives it a little bit more of a natural result, even if it's the last like 5 or 10%, to blend into just a little bit more of a translucent color. So my medium formula is the Color Wear Cream in the 8.03 and the 7.34. And then my light formula is the Color Wear Gloss Toner in the 9.3 and the 8.34. So you can see I'm working with just a very subtle level difference. But what that does is, because I'm dealing with different opacities, it's gonna give a really natural blended end result. And that's kind of the name of the game with this placement, is really efficient, natural, and blended, but in a really quick salon reality timing. So we're gonna do the same thing on the next section. We're just gonna do a quick and easy pickup. And as I'm working through her canvas, I'm not really seeing pieces where she needs the light added. If she did, that's where I would go in and hand paint some lightener on there. So this is gonna be my light formula. Again, the Color Wear Gloss Toner. And one thing I love too about Alfaparf is that all the formulas are vegan. They're super, super innovative. I recently got to travel to Milan, Italy, with Alfaparf and the Global Ambassador team. And we got to tour the factory where the color is made. And I've never got to do that. In 20 years as a colorist, I've never actually got to go see color made. And their process and their thought and the technology behind the color is so innovative. I was just so impressed. And to be able to talk directly to the chemists and watch how they analyze and test and figure things out, I'm like, oh God, they really care. And it was just really refreshing to see a color company, which I know there's so much innovation in hair color in general, but to see a color company put so much energy, thought, and also love into the industry was really amazing. So being able to go to Milan and actually see that in person was a phenomenal experience. All right, so that section's done. You can see really quick and easy. We're gonna move to the back. And I always just like to look at each section of like, where does it fall? This is the benefit of the strategic foil placement. When you're working with the round of the head, you can physically visualize how the hair falls versus when we're working more horizontally or vertically, we're moving the hair away from where it lives. So I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, this is not gonna be seen, the underneath will. So I'm gonna go ahead, as I split that, add a little bit more light in this underneath piece, a little bit more depth in this top piece. And that's the beauty. It's like individual decisions as you work up the head. Make sure that's all covered. Give it a little blend. And I'm actually just gonna take this whole section and blend it with the light. So if you have any follow-up questions or you'd like to see some diagrams of these placements, I have them posted on my Instagram. It's Cassandra Platinum. And you can also follow Alfaparf Milano Professional USA to get any technical questions also answered about the color. It's just a really beautiful, I call it the colorist color, because the way that the colors are formulated, not only in like finish, but also the tonal bases and the formulation options are endless. You don't have to carry a massive inventory in order to be able to formulate for any scenario. And a couple of things that I like in comparison to some of the other demi-permanents that I use is the finish has got high impact and a level of opacity without looking unnatural. And so we know that some demi-permanents, even though they're technically not as opaque as a permanent color, they can kind of have the impact of a permanent color and you can end up with almost an inky or overly saturated end result, or sometimes it's too ashy. So with Alfaparf Milano Professional, what I find is that the end result has got a natural finish, a level of shine I haven't seen, and within the tonal bases, there is a warmth that exists that you find in natural hair versus some of the corrective toners I've used have left hair looking a little bit unnatural. So it's been a really amazing process to start formulating with it and playing with it over the last year, and really getting my hands in creative formulations. And I don't know about you, but like one of the things I've been loving is the gingers and the coppers and the strawberries that we're finding. And Alfaparf has got literally like the most beautiful tonal bases for the reds. Very often, the reds are what sell people on Alfaparf to begin with because they're so beautifully formulated. So if you haven't tried them, highly suggest it. All right, so we got section 1 and section 2 down. We're gonna go to section 3, and this is where we really have to visualize what do we want the top of the head to look like. We can see we have a lot of light in there. You can also see the distribution, how it falls. It has some in the front, it goes all the way to the back. So we're gonna go in and we're actually gonna work more light to less light. We're gonna do a shadow root that drops a little bit lower, and then we're gonna deal with some dimension on the underside with some lightness on the top. And I'll show you what that means as I work through. But I hope you can see how easy and quick this placement is. One of the beautiful things with Colorwear Gloss Toner is you can predictably apply it to damp and dry hair. So you can mix it at different ratios, 1:1, 1:2, depending on the intensity and impact that you want. And you could also process it 5 to 20 minutes on damp or dry hair. So there is a level of versatility with this color that offers a predictable end result that gives you literally almost any scenario you could need in a toning service. So in this case, because I want high impact color, I'm mixing 1:1, applying it on dry hair, and letting it process the maximum time. If I wanted a more translucent end result, I have the option of mixing it 1:2, processing on damp hair, and processing anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes. You might hear a train going by. My salon is right in front of a railroad track, so it'll be gone in just a minute. So I'm just doing that shadow root tap, again, over directing forward. The little bit of over direction gives an automatic blend. It's kind of like cutting layers in the front of the hair. So the second you move hair away from where it lives and you let it fall back, it gives you an automatic blend. So we're doing that with color as well. All right, so we got the shadow root on. Again, I'm going to comb through, let it go back to its natural fall. And the easy thing with this is if I look and I want a little bit more drop down, I can literally just paint right on the surface to get that little bit more drop down. So for this, because I want a little bit more light on the top, a little more depth on the bottom, I'm going to go ahead, try not to get my previous section, and section this in half. So these sections are going to have a little bit more depth, a little less light. I'm going to do that through more of a color melt. So I'm going to drag the root down a little bit. I'm going to hand paint a couple ribbons through. And this is the thing, there are no hard and fast rules with this kind of application. It's really utilizing kind of your artist's eye within a strategic method. So it gives you the best of both worlds. And I'm going to take the Colorwear Gloss Toner, work it through the end, blend the two together. And I'm going to do that again on this back section. Blend it through. Colorwear Gloss Toner on the ends, let it blend. So even if I'm working with the same formulas, I'm just wiping my hands kind of in between. I have a tendency to be a little bit of a messy colorist sometimes, so just working as clean as I can, especially with a liquid demi product, just in order to keep really a lot of control. So not kind of stamping with my hands on the hair that is not colored, even though I'm working with the same formulas. So last section, comb it through. I'm going to create a little bit more over direction with this section because this is the section I want to ensure is really blended because of where it sits right on the top. It's like a literal kind of stamp of color. So we're going to do the opposite with this section. That one we pulled the dark lower. This one we're going to keep the light higher. So I'm going to go in with the Colorware Gloss Toner, blend it nice and high, blend it into the root, and pull it through the ends. So I hope you can see with this technique how easy, how efficient it is. It really is a little bit of planning, a little bit of strategy, and then a lot of artistry. And it can really work in so many different scenarios. So if you want a blonde that just wants very subtle dimension, you can use this technique. If you want a blonde that wants high contrast lowlights, but still kind of blended, you could use this technique. If you have someone who's brunette and wants to add depth and dimension, you could use this technique and also add highlights. So this technique really kind of falls into our blondes or reds or brunettes, and it allows you to just use your artist's eye to really create depth and dimension exactly where you need it with strategy. So again, I am Cassandra McLaughlin, brand ambassador for Alfaparf Milano Professional. This is my finished technique featuring the Colorware Gloss Toner, the Colorware Cream, and really the strawberry end result. We'll show you the after on Instagram, and behind the chair we'll also post it. So thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for being here today on this live, and I hope you enjoyed the